Air pressure always goes from high pressure to low. Think of a great big person and a little tiny person trying to push each other. Who's going to win? The big high pressure. The little low pressure is not. So, how do you always tell where the high pressure and low pressure is? It's pretty simple. Wherever the air is coming from, that's the high pressure. Wherever it's going to, that's the low pressure. Pretty simple. So when I do this, air went from here to here, this must have been the high pressure, this must have been the low. When I do this, air went from here to here, so this must have been the high pressure, this must have been the low. Make sense? Pretty easy. Should have that all down. This is a real thing that happens to divers. It's called the bends. They have to pressurize. They go deeper and deeper, and if they get very deep in the water, all the bubbles slowly get compressed. If they come up too fast, the bubbles in their body expand, and it worsens all the joints. It's supposed to be unbelievably painful for divers. So deep divers have to come up a bit and sit, and they come up a bit and sit there for a while, then they come up a bit and sit there for a while, for their bodies to adjust to the pressure. Tommy, you're going to do... All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push air into this chamber. Oh, not bad. Not bad. We'll try again. I've only actually got it in a person's mouth once. Hey, don't waste food. Let me pick it up and throw it away, please. Don't just leave stuff on the floor. Really? No, it does affect it even this far. It's just not much.
Our plan is you could do it.
What if I just intercepted it?
Put a marker on.
Alright, a little better this time. Alright, well, we tried that. Alright, that was pretty interesting. There it goes.
Oh!
You get smoke rings. What I'm doing is I'm pulling this plunger back, and then the plunger moves forward very fast, so when I pull it back, air went in. When I push the plunger forward, push the air out. And the smoke is just so you can see it better. And so those are pretty cool.
Pretty good.
I'm gonna. There we go. So I'm shooting a tube there. Let's see if I can get my mobile over there. It's very hard to aim this thing. Oh, I hit the corner of the shirt. Okay? So that makes it visible. I don't know what it'll see. That was pretty sweet. As the bubbles rise, there's less pressure, so the bubble gets bigger and bigger. Watch your glass of pop when you get it. Watch the bubbles at the bottom are small. As they come to the top of the glass, they're bigger. They're under less pressure, they grow. Okay? So the fewer bubbles in here, the less chance it's going to explode. Now it's under pressure, but nothing exploded. Okay? Now, if I would have done that with thousands and thousands and thousands of bubbles in there, and each bubble just grew a little bit, it would have splattered all over the place. Okay? I didn't do anything to reduce the pressure until I opened it. What I did is I reduced the number of bubbles. So when it expands, there's fewer bubbles expanding, it won't spill. Boiling is a function of two things. Temperature, right, hot, and pressure. Pressure determines boiling point. The less pressure, the easier it is for things to turn to a gas. The more pressure, the harder it is to turn to a gas. So, you can actually boil things at a couple hundred degrees below zero. You can get them to boil. Boil just really means turning from a liquid to a gas. When one liquid's boil, that's their boiling point. So, I have a thermometer in here. We're going to see what happens when I reduce the pressure in here. And remember, this vacuum pump's going to suck the air out.
There's no such thing as a vacuum.
No, we said
Alright, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to create an area of low pressure in here, and it's going to push air out, reducing the pressure in here. When we reduce the pressure on this, the first thing that's going to happen is the little microscopic carbon dioxide bubbles, they're going to expand and come to the surface and start to pop, okay? And that's what's happening right now. So the pop is becoming flat. You've ever had flat pop? It's not very fizzy. Alright, now we're past that. We are now boiling this pop. It is boiling. Now let's look at the temperature. I know it's a little hard to see, but it's still in our 72, 74 range. So it's not hot in there. It's not hot, but it's boiling. So when people use the term boiling hot, you got to think about that. Boiling hot at what pressure? At what pressure are you at? Okay? And again, if you were in deep space and you got a hole in your spacesuit, all the liquids in your body would boil almost instantly at 250 degrees below zero. You would boil to death. Because the pressure is so low that the bubbles in your body and the liquid can boil. The pressure is so low that it can turn to a gas. So we are boiling this now. There's no carbon dioxide left. There's no carbonation. This is boiling hot pop. Get rid of the word hot. It's boiling pop. And then boiling means at what pressure and temperature. That's why I could put my arm in the kettle at the top of the mountain. It wasn't that. It was hot, but it wasn't what we would call boiling hot. It wasn't. It was boiling. This is boiling, so this is boiling hot. It's just the hot is at 72 degrees or something like that. Okay? And we could boil this all day. It would just continue to boil all day. Okay? Now, it's a little hard on the equipment because this pop vapor now is getting up inside the machine and stuff, so I really don't want to run it that long. So let's now increase the pressure. Now, if you increase the pressure, it's harder to boil, right? The more the pressure, the higher the temperature has to be to boil. So if I increase the pressure, will it continue to boil? Let's see. Hear the air being sucked out? Did you hear the air being sucked out?
Suction.
Kids. Alright. So first of all, is it boiling anymore? No. Alright. So when you were drinking through a straw, people would normally say, they would say you're sucking stuff up through a straw. You know what you're doing. Please. What's happening is stuff is being pushed into your mouth. You're creating an area of lower pressure in your lungs, your mouth. So the higher pressure in the room pushes the fluid down up into your mouth. Now if you blow bubbles, which you should go ahead and do now, obviously the opposite is happening. You are pushing air into the straw, pushing it out through the fluid. So you will have people argue, oh no, I'm sucking it up through a straw. That would mean then the room is sucking it out of you now.
There's no such
Does that make sense? When you breathe, does it feel like the room is pulling the air out of your lungs? No, you're pushing the air out. Alright. We're going to put this on there. Clamp it in nice and tight. And now I can pump some air into it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ooh, we got a leak. Houston, we have a problem. It seems to be leaking. I don't know what we're going to do. Ceiling tiles, this is always my goal. I've only accomplished it twice. I want to punch a hole right through the tile. That is a hole right through. This is pretty close. So that's our goal. And by the way, I paid for these tiles, just so you know. I went down to the custodians and I'm like, I need to buy some tiles because I'm going to wreck some. So what I'm doing, pump, pushing pressure in, so this is getting more and more pressure in here. There's some water, the reaction mass. When I release this, the air will push the water out. We'll get an equal and opposite reaction. Water going out, rocket going that way.
You can do this. I believe in
Let's
you.
go in
Wow.
here.
Wow.
That was wet.
No. Respect from me, and I'll buy it from you. Find me one of these, and they make a green one and an orange one. These are really popular. I'm going to say in the 70s, but they broke easily, so they didn't last long. His name is Vacman.
No such thing as vacuum.
All right, this character is like a balloon. Air pressure inside and outside are equal. Okay, so he's soft and floppy. But I can, using a pump, push the air out of him into the room. So this pump is a plunger that does this, so the high air in the room pushes this way. It's got a one-way valve. So when I do this, the air is pushing out of this character. Just feel what
Have you seen those balloons where if you like they're really long and you pump them up and let them go and they make that really weird noise and they fly all over the room? It's cool. That sounds like really
You
weird.
hold on. I want you to feel how he changes. You can do that. Yep, all for you.
Oh, that's cool. That was ripped.
All right, gently pull them apart. I don't want you to break them, but keep pulling. I'll tell you when to stop. Okay, I'll tell you when to stop. Okay, you guys are long enough. You guys, this is pretty good. Okay, thank you. We're going to equalize the pressure. And it goes back all nice and soft and fluffy. Okay? All right, I think the bell's about to ring.